Right now over Ball Arena. I thought we were going to Elich. Ball Arena.
Well, Elich is behind it.
It's true.
To be fair.
Yes.
In the area of Elich Gardens, we have Ball Arena.
Totally.
Somewhere on the planet Earth.
Well, Ball Arena has been really on fire lately, so I guess it's, fine that we're looking at Ball Arena, and we got some moisture overnight as well. Today, it's going to be a little bit gloomy out there. Great napping weather, as we like to say. Thanks for joining us. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Jordan Chavez. Good morning, everybody. Happy April 25th, the perfect date. Not
right?
too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. Let's get a check of your forecast now with senior meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Gosh, I love Miss Congeniality. That is such a good movie, and it is the perfect date. By the way, if you like cloudy, drizzly weather, here in Denver, we only get about 20 to 30 days like this per year. So that's less than 10% of days where it's just kind of cloudy, drizzly, light showers, rain, kind of like today. So if you like that kind of weather, I know there are some pluviophiles out there you will enjoy today. 40s right now across most of the metro area, though it's 50 degrees here at our station here in downtown Denver. Meantime, in the foothills, we do have quarter-mile visibility for us in the foothills right now. So if you are heading up into the foothills, I-70, 285, you are going to run into some very limited visibility up there. Right now, I'm keeping a close eye on the airport in particular. I do expect this visibility to drop down to about half-mile visibility. That could lead to some delays out there this morning. But right now, mile-and-a-half visibility, that's okay. We like it. Above a mile, you're fine. At the airport, you're not going to see issues from that. Still a few rumbles of thunder out there in Prowers County. Otherwise, we're starting to clear things up. Today, 50 degrees, cloudy, drizzly, some afternoon showers. It's just, again, ideal napping weather. Honestly, I'm going to reveal my bias here. I love these kinds of days. Erica Lopez, what are your thoughts on a cloudy, drizzly day like today?
So rare, like you said. I'm really not mad about it, except I don't think I get to nap today. I have a really busy day, Chris, but please take a really good nap for me, okay? Can you promise me that? It is 5:02, and we want to get you out the door, show you the drive. Usually Fridays are on the quiet side. I think a lot of people normally work from home. Of course, it's still dark and early out here, and we have nothing to worry about. I-70 and 270 looking good volume-wise. Let's take you over to our map this morning. Big picture clear. The only thing I want to mention is what we've been talking about all week long. Sunday night, Highway 6 closed through Clear Creek Canyon between Golden and Highway 119. It's been closed all week for some necessary road work happening. It's not going to reopen till Saturday night at 7 o'clock, so I-70 remains your workaround. But the rest of your travel times are in good shape. Nothing major to slow you down this Friday morning just yet. Denver to Boulder Drive, 17 minutes right now on westbound Highway 36. New this morning, CDOT is looking at different ways to improve the Speer and 23rd Avenue bridges right near I-25. 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez joins us live near that area. Brianna, why are officials looking at this area specifically?
Yeah, so CDOT has been looking at this area for quite some time. They tell me that those bridges along 23rd and Speer were built a while back, 1952. So they're looking to replace those bridges, but also change how this area looks. One of those options, take a look at your screen. It's the diamond diverging interchange. Now, these are rare in Colorado, and it would be the first here in Denver. According to CDOT, this new design is meant to move high volumes of cars safely without adding lanes. So the way this design works, it would briefly move cars to the left side of the road, allowing them to access the interstate on-ramps without having to wait for a traffic signal. So CDOT says different design options have been thrown out, but they've all been evaluated and screened based on long-term maintenance needs, safety for everyone, including bike and pedestrians, plus freight vehicles that often hit the bridges due to the lack of vertical clearance.
The daily traffic volume is incredibly high on this section of I-25, as it is throughout central I-25. It is one of the busiest sections of I-25 in the state, if not the busiest. And so it sees a lot of traffic, it sees a lot of freight traffic, and it does need this stretch of I-25, or this area of I-25 with the bridges over it. It does need to be improved.
Yeah, no matter what time you come through this area, it is always busy, especially during that morning and afternoon rush hour traffic. So coming up in the next hour, I'm going to tell you how the public can be involved in this project and also the timeline of this project and when this area could possibly change. For now, I'm live here in Denver. Brianna Fernandez for 9 News.
All right, Brianna, thank you. A resource center set up to help the community impacted by the mass shooting at the Boulder King Supers will close.
That closure is actually happening today. The Boulder Strong Resource Center became a healing space after the 2021 shooting. For 4 years, survivors and families found community through art, therapy, and support there. More than 1,000 people used services at the center, including Erica Mahoney, whose father was killed in the shooting.
And I think that's what the center did. It gave us a chance to speak about our grief instead of holding it in. Having a brick and mortar place that you can go to is invaluable.
Some of the items from the Resource Center will be donated to a museum in Boulder, and people with the center are working to ensure therapy services can still be provided for those who need them.
Well, this morning, another Juneteenth celebration in Colorado is making changes after a loss of funding, a pretty big one. The Southern Colorado Juneteenth Festival in Colorado Springs says their grant from the city was cut in half. The city said it was reprioritizing, funding for events to focus on ones that brought tourists to that city. Without that funding, organizers cannot afford to hold the event in the park where it's been the past several years. They've been able to raise some money to secure a spot in a mall parking lot. And the organizers of Denver's Juneteenth Music Festival announced this week that they are shifting to a one-day event rather than the typical 2 days. And that's because they lost tens of thousands of dollars in corporate sponsorships.
The man who killed 7 people and injured dozens more in a shooting at a 4th of July parade will spend the rest of his life in prison. Robert Crimo III skipped his sentencing hearing, which ended yesterday after dozens of victim impact statements. He pleaded guilty last month to 21 counts of first-degree murder and 48 counts of attempted first-degree murder for the mass shooting in a Chicago suburb back in 2022. Yesterday, a judge sentenced him to 7 life sentences without the possibility of parole plus 50 years.
President Trump is directing the Department of Justice to investigate the leading Democratic fundraising platform. The president signed an executive order yesterday directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate Act Blue. The order accuses the fundraising platform of illegally facilitating straw or dummy contributions. A spokesperson for Act Blue called Trump's move a brazen attack on democracy in America, adding that they play on challenging the directive in court. Several Democratic groups, including the Democratic National Committee and the Democratic Governors Association, said in a joint statement that Trump's memo is designed to undermine Democratic participation.
Your chance to get George Santos to wish you a happy birthday on Cameo has now passed. A federal judge will sentence the disgraced former congressman today. Under a plea deal, he will get at least 2 years in prison, but prosecutors want 87 months, which is a little more than 7 years. And Santos says he thinks he'll probably get that longer sentence. Santos became famous for lying about his work, history, education, and even religion when he ran for Congress in 2022. He later admitted to campaign finance fraud and lying to Congress. His conviction last year is for wire fraud and identity theft.
New merch dropped on President Donald Trump's official site, and it has some visitors questioning whether he is serious or just trolling us. The new additions include hats and T-shirts that say Trump 2028. The shirt also says rewrite the rules. Now, of course, these are all references to the third term that Trump has teased that he might seek. Of course, the Constitution strictly forbids a president from being elected to the White House more than twice, but Trump did say last month that there are methods which you could do it. He didn't say what those were exactly.
This morning, a man is behind bars in connection to a massive wildfire burning in New Jersey. 19-year-old Joseph Kling is charged with arson. Investigators say the 19-year-old set wooden pallets on fire and then left the area before the fire was fully out. The fire has now burned more than 15,000 acres, even forcing thousands of evacuations at one point. However, residents were able to return to their homes after the evacuation order was lifted on Wednesday. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection says this could be the biggest wildfire the state has seen in 20 years. Colorado state fire leaders say they are planning for a normal fire season.
Yeah, that's right. But normal does not mean quiet. At a briefing yesterday, they said normal in Colorado means about 6,000 fires across the state on average and more than 150,000 acres burned. Now, a big question this year is about federal resources in light of the Trump administration's layoffs and funding cuts. At the press conference, Forest Service and BLM reps said that they are planning on their normal number of seasonal firefighters.
We're confident in our firefighting capability for this summer. We are obviously managing through a transition, but for example, we have hired 54 of our seasonals so far for this summer. Generally, I think last year we had 58.
The Bureau of Land Management says that fired probationary workers were brought back to work, and the U.S. Forest Service says that they are hiring right now and planning for a seasonal normal of about 760 firefighters this year. Some support positions and some fire prevention efforts have been cut. State leaders say that federal help is also crucial, but local firefighters far outnumber federal resources already.